Joining me now, Dennis Franks, retired FBI supervisory special agent, now president of the Investigative and Security Global Solutions team. Dennis, thank you for being here this morning. Based on what we know publicly so far, what police have released publicly, is there anything you think can be ruled out in these murders?
As far as what's available, and I'm sure there's a lot of information that is not available that they can't release, but I don't know what I would rule out, but I would just say this, based on 35 years of experience as an investigator, that the evident ease with which the killer entered the house and killed 4 people and left is an indication that he, and I'll say he, it could be she, it could be they, had some familiarity with the house, perhaps. Another factor is, I know that there's information now that the dog was in the house. I don't know what room it was in, but would the dog normally bark at someone entering the house? Did the dog know this person? That's just another interesting factor, in my opinion.
Right. So police are now saying, or at least indicating, the dog was in the house, but not in a room where the crimes happened. Those 2 roommates who survived were in the downstairs rooms, and they were uninjured. I'm curious, and a lot of people online have asked this as well, about surveillance in the area, any cameras that might have been nearby that could have caught some activity in the middle of the night. The other thing is pinging cell phones, understanding who might have been in that area. I know there's some privacy concerns around that, but how do investigators piece through some of that potential evidence?
I'm sorry, I'm having some audio problems hearing you, but I think what they're going to do is uncover every possible lead they can. I know they've been looking at video footage from many cameras. They're going to try to trace every contact that the victims have had in the last several months. It's not an easy task, unfortunately. One of the things I think that they're going to focus on is the type of person that would do this. Was this person, this was a close personal attack. I would want to know if one of the victims had more wounds than the other, then that would be the person that was perhaps targeted. And it'd be a crime of passion, in my opinion, not that there was any passion involved, but that this person, for some reason, really hated or wanted to kill one person in particular and did it ruthlessly.
Okay. DNA is important in this case, Dennis, as you know, but there are some challenges with this crime scene. So is DNA not enough to solve a case like this?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing, but yeah, DNA, I mean, hopefully there was some DNA left. It's, that they can get of the assailant, the killer. And it may not, evidently, if there is some, it's not showing up in any databases yet. But if they do get a suspect at some point, that's going to be extremely crucial in comparing it. And it will go a long ways toward, evidentiary proof when it comes to trying him.
Dennis, I think so many of us sympathize with the families in this case and what they're going through. The families have shared with our teams of reporters that they are frustrated that police were able to clear some people from any involvement so soon. They are questioning what those alibis were. If you were working this case, how would you respond to that criticism, respond to the families? What would you say publicly to try to ease some of that concern?
I can begin to imagine what the families are going through, just losing their child like this. And anyway, just losing a child to begin with, but especially under these circumstances. I would try to share what I could to, so that they're at ease, knowing that every investigative avenue is being taken and that, some progress is being made, but, unfortunately you can't share a lot of information. You just can't let it out. It could compromise the investigation. So it's a delicate balance. I think that, the parents deserve to know as much as they can, but, unfortunately, people have to understand that there's only so much information that law enforcement can share.
Right, because the truth is the killer could be watching. The killer is looking for what police know about him, her, them, that could lead them to an arrest and to closing this case and looking for the major break we all so desperately want. Dennis Franks, retired FBI supervisory special agent. As always, appreciate your perspective on this. It is a tough one. It's heartbreaking. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.